Hi and welcome back to part 2 of the training tutorial for Naviswork. And at this point in time, I need you to open folder number 2. And inside folder number 2, you will see 3 subfolders: Archi, MEP, and Structural. You can go ahead and open the Archi subfolder. Okay, at this point in time, what we're trying to do here is to learn how to merge multidisciplinary models into one Naviswork file. It can be used to as a federated model for class detection, for construction sequence. But first, we need to learn how to combine them, right? So in this Archi subfolder, you will see the Revit file as well as the Naviswork cache file. So since the cache file is already there, there is no need to open the Revit file because it's the same name, right? So just drag in the Naviswork cache file here, and you have this model here. Okay, and if your model looks, in terms of materials and colors, if everything looks gray, then what I need you to change is to go to this button here, press Options. Okay, let me just close this. You need to go to File Readers, Revit, and just make sure that here it says under the Convert settings, it should be First 3D View. If currently your convert is under Entire Project, then what you will notice is your model that you brought into Naviswork is entirely gray. So to avoid that, at this point in time, go for First 3D View. There's one other option for Naviswork View. So I'm just going to set this to 3D View first. And in case you want to specify in your Revit file, here is the Revit version of the Archi file. And if you want, let's say, a particular view to be exported in Revit, okay, what you need to do is make sure when you have the 3D view, I have 4 3D views in this file at this point in time, you can set it to Navis. Okay, so when you kind of set this to Navis, okay, you're actually telling Naviswork to get this 3D view. Whatever is contained in the 3D view, it might contain more elements than the rest of the 3D view. It might contain less elements. It contains elements of different phases. So in case you want to specify a particular view in Revit to be exported, use the name Navis, N-A-V-I-S. Okay, and not only you need to have a view in Revit naming as Navis, your settings for Naviswork must also be Naviswork View. So when these two are, when you have a view called Navis and your setting is Naviswork View, then they will know which view that you kind of want it to be Naviswork. Otherwise, I'll just use the first 3D view, and first 3D view usually refers to the ones in bracket here. So the bracket 3D, bracket here, is usually considered the first 3D view. So I'm just going to keep it this way. Just make sure it's first 3D view, or if you want to try for Naviswork View, you can go ahead and try that. Okay, by this time, I'm not going to try it as part of training. I'm going to go for OK. So this is the Archi model, and we want to overlay the MEP model and the structural model. You go to, let's open the selection tree first. Then under Append drop-down menu, go for Merge. Actually, you can go for Append. Okay, Append. Let's go append the MEP file first, NWC here. You can see the MEP elements are there. Append again, and this time for the structural one, structural NWC, and the structural works are all inside this model right now. So this is how you merge multidisciplinary model using the append button here. Okay, if you're merging 2D sheets or model, then you can. Sorry, if you're merging 2D sheets, annotations, dimensions, viewpoints, you use the merge. If it's a different discipline, you use append. Okay. And what we're going to do here is to save this file, and I'm just going to save it maybe just here, and I'm going to name it as, let me see, what should I name? BL_2017 Trapilo Federated. Okay, the reason it's federated because the model that you have right now is a combination of 3 disciplines, and in BIM terms, at least in Singapore, when you put them all together, it's considered a federated model. Okay, federated save, and this will be Trapilo Federated NWF, and you'll notice that I can save an NWF file away from the NWC file, and that's fine. At this point in time, we're going to learn how to find items or locate items in Naviswork. But before that, I just want to show you that you can actually select on different models here. In fact, if you want to be a bit more specific, you can click the plus icon, select basement, select floor 1. So they kind of subdivide the models into different categories, I suppose, or different groups. Okay, you can click on them, and you can choose to try all these buttons here, hide, unselected, unhide. All these are quite useful buttons. So for example, I just want to see the ARCI model at this point in time. I'll use this button, not hide, but I say hide unselected. So those MEP and structural model that's not selected will be hidden, you can see here. And let's say I want to get them back, the structural and MEP model back. Okay, things that are hidden, you'll notice that they are appearing slightly gray, so that's when you know it's being hidden. And let's say you want to unhide everything, just go ahead and click this button, and everything will be shown as per normal here. Okay, so now we're going to learn how to create sets. And to create sets, we need to use the Find Items panel. This is also actually a panel. You click on it, you have a panel at the bottom. So I suggest you to make sure you have adequate space. Okay, and the focus here is also to make sure that you have ample space. This is just like Excel, just make sure you have bigger cells individually. Category, property, condition, values, just make sure you have bigger cells. The reason why you need bigger cells is because when you click on the drop down menu here, if you see this category, if it's a small cell, the default size, you cannot see what you are choosing or selecting. So just make sure it's bigger first before you do a selection here. Okay, so what are we selecting? Okay, before that I just want to turn on the properties panel as well. And what we are going to do is to ask Naviswork how many windows of a certain kind are there. And I just want you to pick this window here. Okay, this window here. And if you look at some of the properties under items, you can see this window is window S12. If you click on other windows in the project, S14, S2, so S15. So all these prefix at the back probably symbolize a certain type of window, be it about size, about material, about colors, or the type of windows. So every number will denote a different set of windows. Okay, so we have this window over here that is window S12, and actually there are other window S12 in the project. For example, this is window S12, you can see here. So instead of finding all the window S12 individually by manually clicking on them, we're going to ask Naviswork to find the total number of S12 windows and have them selected. Okay, so I just want to show you how you can ask Naviswork to find all the windows that are S12. So what we can do here is under category. Okay, I want you to follow some the settings I have here. It will be item, name, equals, and window S12 here. Okay, so once you have done with item, name, equals, window S12, press the Find All button, and you can see, this is a bit different here. Okay, it cannot be item, it must be element. So I'm going to change to element, name, equals, window S12. Okay, Find All. Okay, and element name equals window S12, and you will notice that on the properties panel you will see the total number of quantities of window S12, and in your 3D view you can see all the S12 windows are being selected in blue. There are quite a number of S12 windows, as you can see. Total there's 14 of them. So what do you do after you find all the windows S12 in your project? You might want to create a set. Okay, the reason why we have this Find Items panel is because we want to kind of locate all the elements. At the same time, we want to make sure we save it as a set, so next time we don't have to set all these settings again. So we just want it to be setting it once. So to save it as a set, you go for this button, Save Selection. And when you do that, they actually open the Sets panel, and you can see this is the set that you created called the Selection Set. Just type it window S12. Okay. So once you've done that, just do a few left clicks on the model on the open space, make sure nothing is selected, and go back and click on Set Window S12, and you can see that all these items are highlighted again. So by creating a set, then you do not need to re-enter this set of conditions here each time you open the file. The moment you save this into your NWF file, just pressing the Save button, the next time anybody who opens this file can immediately select Window S12 in the project. Okay, and next I'm going to teach you how to, the next objective we're going to ask Naviswork how many Windows S12 and Windows S2 are there. So this is Windows S12, there's a one Windows S2 over here. We want to know the total number of Windows S2 and Windows S12. So I'm going to teach you how to do that. Just follow me here. It's actually not that difficult. Element, same thing, name equals Windows S2. One of the common mistakes that people make is they don't spell it correctly, or they spell it with different casing. So you can turn off the match case, but you probably can't spell it wrongly, right? So you can turn off the match case if you want to. And to avoid kind of getting the wrong value, what you can do is, you see this value here, Windows S2, in case you're afraid you spell wrongly or don't follow the proper characters, you right click, copy value. Okay. Let me close this thing here first. Oops. Okay, so coming back, there was some error here. So right click and copy value. What is this? Okay, and then right click here and just Ctrl V for pasting the value in. You can see. Then this way you wouldn't encounter scenarios where you type in the wrong characters here. So once you're done, go for Find All, and you will notice it should say no object found. But that's ridiculous, isn't it? Because for Windows S12, we know there is about 14 of them. So how can there be no objects found? At least logically, there's Windows S12. And the reason is because we need to set one thing here. Okay, just follow me. Place your mouse anywhere in the second row for the one that is for Windows S2, anywhere. Do a right click, and you see this All Condition OR. Just turn it on. And now press the Find All button. And you should see now it works. There is a total of 24 Windows S12 and S2 together. So what happens here is, if you did not turn on the All condition, it means that Naviswork is finding an element that is S12 and S2 at the same time, which you would logically think that it would be impossible that the same object can be given two different names, right? So if you do not turn on the All, it means the condition is set as N, A, and D. Naviswork is trying to find an element that satisfies both S12 and S2 at the same time, and that is impossible to do it, right? So it must be set as an All condition, and that will run fine. Okay, and so once you kind of okay, it's gone. I kind of click it away. I'm going to Find All again. So once I've selected these 24 objects, I'm going to use the Save Selection button again. So this will be Windows S12 and S2. Okay, so there's 24 of them. Okay, there's two sets: Windows S12, and S2 here. And we're going to create one last set first, and we're going to ask Naviswork how many windows are there, how many S12 windows are there on level 1 on the first floor. Okay, so we have Windows S12 there, it's ready, and we do not need Windows S2. Remember, our objective now is how many Windows S12 are there on level 1. So to do that, just follow me here. Let me just see. Okay, this will be item, this will be layer equals floor 1. Okay, and you need to turn off the All condition, otherwise Naviswork is going to select everything that belongs to level 1, so that's not going to work. We want it to select windows that are on level 1 that is of S12 type. Okay, so just make sure you turn off the All, otherwise you will get the wrong sets. Okay, so some of these settings here, you might be wondering why element, why name, why item, why layer. Okay, so the logic here is, if you go to element, I'm going to the element tab, here is element, right? So you can see name is Windows S12, okay, element name, Windows S12, and that's why here is element. Okay, so between element and item, you will see different properties. And one thing that is slightly different is this under the item tab, okay, the layer represents the level of the object. Okay, which means that right now I'm selecting this window, it says on floor 2, and in Naviswork they call it layer, in Revit you call it probably floor, levels or datum. So just the naming convention is a bit strange here, but just let you know, layer means the level. So item tab, you see here, item, layer, floor 2, item, layer, floor. Okay, I want level 1, so it's 1 here. Okay, so that's the logic why I have all these settings over here. Okay, I'm going to press Find All, and you can see 2 items selected, right? Okay, let me see if this is correct. 2 items, they are not here on this view, they are on the other side of the model. Okay, so we're going to save this as well, save selection, window underscore S12 level 1. Okay, and see you in the next video, where we will be focusing more about sets as well.